Hello everyone, this is Professor Kent. Today's recording is for chapter 13. Chapter 13 is correcting entries. For that correcting entries, you have to download a file from Top Hats called corrections, or you have to get it from your course site. You have it there too. So I'm going to unzip this file. So when you're unzipping it, you could unzip it to the desktop. In this case, I'm just going to unzip it to the download folder because I don't have that much room on my desktop, so I'm just going to unzip it here. Once you unzip it, you're going to open the file and you're going to do the transactions. And once our first transaction is done on January 4th, 2021, let's see what the session date comes up with. In this case, system is opening. So it is on January 4th. So I'm going to accept the session date. I'm going to say, okay, as we did it in the classroom, I think the first transaction was done for us. So what we're going to do is, if it was the transaction was done for us, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Sorry. So so in this case we have we're using the correction file. So the first transaction that the book wants us to do is to adjust previously posted journal entry. So we did a journal entry already. So what we wanted to do an adjustment. I believe when we were doing it in the classroom, this journal entry was done for you, but we wanted to double check if it was done for us or not. Once you're doing this, you could click on this this icon, which is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Adjust a previously posted transaction. In this case, I will say okay, and it is for the bank debit memo. If I were to do that, I'm going to double click it, and I want to adjust this, but everything is done on this one. So we have a bank service charge for $43 and our HST was $5.59, and they already recorded that too. So this transaction was done. So this is, in other words, this is how we adjust a transaction. If you needed to, you could be adjusting it if maybe there's a price change, or maybe a dollar amount is changed, or maybe there's something wrong with the previously posted transaction. In this case, when you adjust it, it automatically going to reverse the original one and post a new one. Since we didn't change anything, so there won't be any change. I'm just going to post it, and that will be your transaction. So 9 and 10 is posted. We're going to go to the next one. The next one is that we have to do an adjustment to a quote. If you're doing adjustment to the quote, we have to go to our receivable, and you're going to do it, click on the down arrow, and you're going to do an adjust a quote. We only have a 1 in this case. They didn't tell us who's the person. They just said the bookkeeper record a sales quote, and we did it incorrect order. In this case, I'm going to double click it. Once you double click it, it's going to come back, and then what I'll be doing is changing the quantity, and the quantity should be 15. If we change the quantity, if you look at it when you display a report, there shouldn't be any transaction because there's no activity. All they did is we quoting them for a price. In this case, I'm going to record this transaction, and it is done successfully. My next one is what we wanted to do is they told us we're doing an adjustment to an invoice. So we're doing an adjustment to the invoice. If they want you to do it says you will create an invoice adjustment. If they want you to create an adjustment, and then what you're going to do is you are going to click on this. You're going to create a new invoice because it's just like treated like a return. The invoice they want you to do an adjustment to 11,505, and it's a price adjustment. Yes, it's a price adjustment. P is for PR is for price, and then what I'm going to do is it is a correction, price correction. So and when did we do it? On January 4th. Who is the person? In this case, they told us it is a Redo Social Club. That's the one. And the item number, it is for the prize medal. So in this case, what you're doing is you're doing an adjustment. It is just a $10 difference. So if I were to, how do I know it's a $10 difference? Because if you go to your inventory, what they said is we previously in the question it will tell you that previously we charged them $6.80. The new price is for the new price is $6.80. All we're doing is we're doing a price adjustment. So I'm just going to do a price adjustment, or you can type it here, price correction. And who are we, what are we making a price adjustment for? And they told us it is for the product called Prizes Adult Metal. Oh, it is there. So in this case sometimes it doesn't show up, and then if you enlarge your screen it will show up there. So in this case what we're going to do is the amount of adjustment. In this case it is 10 cents adjustment, and like if you go to the original invoice, we know that we order 30 units from, they order 30 units, so we're making an adjustment, price adjustment for 10 cents. So you could do it here too. We can do a price adjustment for 10 cents. If I were to do this, it automatically will come up. In other words, we put it under the quantity, and then here will be your each. So that will be your each. You could do an adjustment, and it is for 10 cents adjustment, and it will be whatever the price adjustment is in this case. So you're making an adjustment, and the price adjustment, previously we charged them $6.80, and what we're doing is we're adjusting for that invoice. So in this case what you're going to do is this a positive or a negative? In this case we charged them too much before, so the price adjustment will be a negative. And then there, of course, there's always going to be an HST. So we're going to select the HS, and then it is to the sales account. So let's go to our sales, and we're not returning it. In other words, if this account was called sales return and allowance, then you use it to that. But in this case, when it's not a it's just a returns, this is not a return, so we adjusted to the original invoice. So in this case it was for prices, and we're going to select that. And then if I were to if I was to display this journal entry, you will have a HST of 39 cents. Your sale will be $3, and you have to adjust your accounts receivable. So in this case, this is how you adjust the invoice. It's when you're doing this. So in this case, you're adjusting it. So now some students would want to do the adjustment to the original invoice. We don't want to do it to the original invoice. They want you to create a new invoice. So I'm going to post it, and once we posted it, it's January 4th. We close it, and the next one is exercise 13.5. You have to go to do a reverse receipt icon. So what we're going to do is we are going to reverse. What are we reversing? We're reversing a receipt. If you're reversing a receipt, where are you going to go? You're going to be going to the receipt. If I double click it, and what I wanted to do is we wanted to adjust, or you want to reverse this. In this case, when you this icon, you cannot do reverse here. The only way to do is to first find the receipt. So let's find a receipt, and in this case they told us it's for receipts for Party for You Inc. So let's find Party for You Inc. They told us it was the check number was, what was the check number? Check number was 329, and we're making an they want you to do a reverse receipt first. So let's select that account. When you select it, so now if you look at it, now it becomes active. So what you're going to do is you're going to reverse it. So how do we reverse it? By clicking on this. So if you click on it, the system will say, are you sure you want to reverse it? And then we're going to say, yes, we wanted to reverse it. And what we wanted to do is, once we reverse it, we wanted to check. We wanted to do it is that what happens is that if you look at it, there should be discount where we didn't take the discount. So let's reverse that. So we reversed it. Now what we're going to do is, once we reverse it, now we're going to receive a receipt from them. And when you do a receipt from him, there is a correction that comes up. So in this case, that's what happens. There was a correction. So in this case, we needed to adjust for that. So sorry. So again, you have to, what you're gonna do is, what we did is we put it in a correction. So in this case, I'm gonna go from the left to the right. So we're gonna go from the left to the right. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So now this is, if you make it a receipt. So when our in the invoice date was June 4th, and we're doing there was a price correction. If you look at it, when you do a price correction, there shouldn't be any sales on that, on discount on that. So there shouldn't be any sales discount. So in other words, if you make a mistake, it's always okay to fix it. The way to fix it, you're gonna of course, I'm going to go back to my invoice. So if I were to go at the top, I'm going to do an invoice. What I wanted to do is, I forgot at the bottom, I forgot, even though it doesn't do anything for the correction, what you're going to do is, it doesn't do anything for the correction, but we needed to clear it. At this point, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to create an invoice as is, but it's not going to do a big thing. But there shouldn't be 2% on the price adjustment. So there shouldn't be 2% on the price adjustment. There shouldn't be 2%. So that's what it is. So there shouldn't be 2% on the price adjustment. So and this is the we're depositing it. So let's do a deposit, and the invoice, the check number is 329, and it is my correction. And let's see what the displaying amount is. To me, there should be a sales discount on this. So let's, and I'm not sure if this is the invoice. I am going to see if I posted my old invoice. In this case, I wanted to see if my entry was reversed. I just wanted to go check. They didn't ask me to make a payment for that. They just want me to create a new new receipt. I'm just going to see if everything was done. If my entry was reversed, 329 was reversed. So if it was reversed, now what we're going to do is, we're going to do a new payment for this for them. So we're going to receive a new payment for 399.60. So I am going to record an invoice, and it was for who? Party 4. We're now making this one, and receipt number will be 322, sorry, it was 322, no, 329, and it was a correction. We're doing it for that time. So in this case, I picked up the wrong person before. So in this case, when you reverse it, previously we forgot to take in a discount. I had a different company here. So if I display the receipt, it will do it to debit the bank account and credit the accounts receivables. What happened is, where they want you to reverse first, and then they put the right one in. And a check number is same as a receipt number, and you cannot use the same check number again. If you cannot use the same one, you have to put right beside correction on it. So we're going to post it. My next entry they want you to do is that, use the adjustment icon for the purchase order, but in this case we're not in the sales, we are in the purchases. So we're adjusting a purchase in purchase order. So we're adjusting a purchase order. In this case, what we wanted to do is we want to adjust it, and which one we are doing it, it's from games wooden games manufacturing. And what the adjustment is in this case, this purchase order issued for 55 boxes of games wooden medium size one was excuse me, sorry, I'm not feeling well. So in this case, the order was issued for 55 medium size. In this case, we have an order for 50. So what we're going to do is we are going to issue it for 55 of them. So when you do a sales order, when you're doing an adjustment, when you display it, there's nothing to display because it's just an order. When you have order and quote, there's no adjustments, that there's nothing to report. So we're going to say, I'm going to record it, and we're going to say okay. So in the next icon, the next thing is they're saying that the next exercise is 13.7, and they're saying this exercise using the adjust icon method will demonstrate how to adjust purchase invoice, assuming that the quantity amount should be 35, not 30. So record the negative invoice and then record the correcting invoice. So in this case, negative quantity to reverse the original invoice. So what we have to do is they want you to reverse the original invoice, and then after you reverse it, they want you to put the right invoice. So that's what the system wants you to do, reverse it first. So how do we reverse it? So we're going to go as an invoice in this case. What you're going to do is, in this case, I'm going to go to invoice, and you could find it first. Let's go to find it. And who is the person in this case? Did they tell us who is the vendor? If they don't tell you this, in this case, they didn't tell us anything. So in this case, what we are doing is, in order for us to know which one is it, it will be for the office supplies company. You will not know at this point because you have to go into the exercise. In this case, it is for the office supplies company. So I'm going to click on that, and they want you to reverse it. So how do we reverse it? By clicking on this. So if I click it, are you sure you want to reverse it? Reverse will be, if I do with this, so a reverse will be the opposite of this invoice. And then what we have to do is we needed to do a correcting entry. First we reverse it, and then we do the correcting. So in this case, we can also adjust it too, because what they want to do is the system will question will tell you, do they want you to adjust it or reverse it? If I want you to adjust it, it automatically reverse it. When you do that, the only thing we wanted to do is, if I were to they said to record as a negative. So in this case, I'm going to adjust it. And how am I going to do a negative? You put it as a negative in front of it, and that's what happens when you do a negative in front of it. And what you're going to do is, here you're going to do it adjust. I'm just going to call this as a negative, and then the change will be adjust 658, and then what we're going to do is REV, and we wanted to reverse it. And then once we done that, we have to do a correcting one. So I'm going to the date is right, and if I were to show you display a purchase invoice, debit will be accounts payable, and credit will be your office supplies on hand. And then we are going to do HST on it. I'm going to post it, and they want you to, this is the journal entry, and they want you to put a new one in. In this case, it's from the office supplies. In this case, my quantity was quantity will be your 30, not 35 that we have previously. It will be for the each. And what did we order from them? I think we ordered supplies from them. So let's do a supplies, paper supplies, and the price was I don't know what the price was. I have to go back to the book, and I forgot my book at home, so I'm gonna kind of navigate it. They said the adjustment will be for the 200. So I am just going to put in there the amount should be 200, and it is for the HST. So I'm just going to put in the HST on that. I can always take this out too, because when you order papers, you can always put the amount to be $200. So in this case, the amount is 200. In this case, if it's each, the system will ask you to put it in. If you put each, system wants you to put a item number and a quantity. If you're purchasing to resell, you put it into the item. If you're just going to use it in-house, then you just put it into the amount, and it's going to be your office supplies, and that's where we're going to do the adjustment to 10 net 30. And let's see if I report a transaction, and then I'm going to have a debit will be office supplies. Originally was 300, now it's 200, and the invoice number is 658, and it is on January 4th, and I am going to post that transaction. So I'm going to post that transaction. So we close it, and then what we're going to do is the next one is they want you to use a reverse payment icon, just like the way we did it, a reverse icon. I am going to go payment. Under the payments, I'm going to find the payment which one we wanted to reverse. They said games manufacturing, and the invoice that we paid was 731. You will cancel the reverse. You will cancel / reverse the original amount and record the correct amount. So let's do that, and it's for the games, and it was for 621, and then we are going to put it in the correct one. First I'm going to select it, and then what we're going to do it, we are going to reverse it. In this case, cancel or reverse the payment. Let's reverse it. In this case, I will reverse it, and it's a reverse, and I'm going to receive a payment. Then I'm going to make a payment. In this case, it is Gomes company, and it is for the 621. What happens is that if you go from the left to the right, you needed to, in this case, we are only making a payment for the invoice 731, not the other ones. And if I were to do that, I will display a report, and when you display a report, it will be debit the 621.50, and the credit will be my purchase discount. And that's how you fix it. So then, in other words, system will tell you if they want you to do a correcting entry or not. In this case, they ask us to reverse it first and then do the correcting entry. That means their system is asking you to do 2 entries. So I'm gonna post it, and then it is done. Now what we're going to do is the next one is what they want you to do is they want you to record an adjustment. So let's do an adjusting entry and then do the right entry. So what they did is they made a mistake. So what was their mistake? So in this case, in this transaction, the HST on sales and HST on purchase amount on the payment entry to the Receiver Journal of Canada was not recorded correctly. Fortunately, check has now been mailed. Reverse the original check. So first what we have to do is we have to reverse an original check. First we have to find that check. So let's do that. Find a payment, and it is for Receiver Journal, and we're going to select it. So the amounts are incorrect. So that's what happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the reverse at the top. You're going to use the icon. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to use this icon. I'm going to say reverse the payment. Are you sure you want to reverse it? We're going to say yes. We wanted to reverse this payment. I'm going to say yes, and we're going to say okay. So now what we wanted to do is we wanted to make a payment. When you're making a payment, you are going to be, I'm just going to do it here. You're going to go to your report, and you're going to look at your trial balance, and the amounts were incorrect. If the amounts were incorrect, and then it was for the last month. So last month was our December. So in other words, I could do a custom, and then a custom will be this calendar year, last calendar year. When that happens, it should let you display December 31st. And sometimes it doesn't let you do that. If it doesn't let you do that, what you're going to do is, the only way to do it is to go to the book. We're just doing an adjusting entry from January 4th. The trial balance, let's look at the balance sheet. Maybe balance sheet will give us the numbers that we need. So let's look at the balance sheet. Does it let me do it on the last month that we wanted to do? I just want to know, Andy, since it's not going to let us do the balance sheet because we the normally you could display the trial balance, whatever the balance is on January 1st. If we haven't done any transaction, that belongs to our last year. Let me do it another way. Not 4th, I wanted to do it on the 1st. It might not let us do it on the 1st either because that's not the date we have. But if we were to do that, we have an HST and we have on this. So in other words, you might have to go to a book at this time and display the trial balance, what it was, because it's not letting me display it. In the book, they've given you what each account should be. So I am going to do it from the book, and I'm going to turn my book, and you can turn your book to exercise 1310. And what you're going to do is you're going to do an adjustment to that. So when you're doing an adjustment, where you're going to do the adjustment, it is going to be your payment, and you're going to create a payment. In this case, you could be making a purchase invoice, credit invoice, or make other payments. In other words, I'm going to make other payments. In this case, who are making a payment to? Receiver journal. And when you're making a receiver journal, you're going to pick an account. In this case, it will be my HST account. We're going to talk about this too. In this case, we have an amount called 26 HST on sales, and we have a HST on purchase. In this case, I am going to put it in an amount. HST on sales is going to be 41. It's going to be your 415, not description, 4152, and it is 0.84. And we wanted to know HST on sales when you there's no tax on it. So when you report it, before you do it, I just wanted to see if I'm putting it on the right. If you look at it, HST on sales normal balance, and that HST on sales is a credit balance. So what are we going to do is we have to debit that account, and next account that I want to adjust is 2670, and it is my purchases account, and I had to put a negative, and the negative amount will be my negative amount will be 2113.22. Now if you go to your book, it shows you what my HST sales account balance is, and what is the balance in my HST paid on purchases. So the difference between the both will go to my cash in the bank account, will be get out of the bank account, which is 2039.62. In this case, the check, we issued a new check, and that new check is 255. That's the new check. So they told us we reversed the original one and issued a new one. In other words, you need to know what the amount is, and you will go to your trial balance and get it, or in this case we are given in our book in the exercise, so you'll get it from your book. I'm going to post the transaction. Once I post the